The English language is pretty reliable when it comes to sentence production. Most of our sentences follow a basic order. That order is SP, which stands for subject and predicate. In most sentences, the subject comes before the predicate. Remember that simple predicate is just a fancy way of saying verb. Let's look at an example. Bill ran. Here, Bill is the subject and ran is the verb, the simple predicate. Since it's pretty easy to figure out a sentence this simple, let's complicate it a little. My best friend Bill ran swiftly toward the pool. You notice that Bill is still the subject of the sentence, and all the words that relate to Bill help to tell about Bill. Thus, the adjectives my, best, and friend all modify the simple subject, forming the complete subject, my best friend Bill. Notice also that ran is still the verb, the predicate, but swiftly toward the pool helps explain ran and thus becomes part of the complete predicate. As I've said, the usual order in the English language is subject-predicate, but that's not always the case. Be on the lookout for sentences that are in inverted order, usually for emphasis or artistic effect. Here's an example. Swiftly toward the pool ran my best friend Bill. If I were to ask you what the sentence is about, you'd still say Bill, and you'd be right. But then how do we figure out the complete subject and the complete predicate? Same way. If the words relate to the subject, they are part of the subject. If they relate to the verb, they are part of the predicate. My, best, and friend all still describe Bill. Therefore, they belong to the subject. Swiftly and the prepositional phrase toward the pool both modify the verb ran. Thus, they belong to the predicate. Remember also that the sentence won't be split three ways. You'll be able to draw a line between the subject and the predicate, whether the sentence is in its traditional order or an inverted order. Here's tip number 1. With those inverted sentences, the predicate almost always ends with the verb. Here's tip number 2. Any sentence that begins with there or here will be an inverted sentence. Let's look at some examples and figure out where we draw the line between subject and predicate. Over the ridge camped the Union Army. Is this sentence about the ridge? No. It's about the Union Army. Since those are the last words in the sentence, looks like we have an inverted sentence. Now let's find the verb. What did the Union Army do? They camped. That's our verb and our simple predicate. Using our tip, we thus know that over the ridge camped is the complete predicate and Union Army is the complete subject. There perched the glorious bald eagle. This one is pretty easy if we follow tip number 2. Since the sentence starts with the word there, I know it's inverted. Using tip number 1, I know my predicate likely ends with the verb perched. All the rest is the complete subject. The car dealer gave me a great deal. After 2 inverted sentences, this one looks easy. The sentence is about the dealer. And what did he do? He gave. Clearly, I draw my line between dealer and gave. As you might have imagined, sentence order gets more complicated, but not by much. Check out the video on objects.